Okay, we're going to use live audio. So if you guys didn't hear me, I said Happy Cinco de Mayo, and let's talk about our ingredients, getting our ingredients together. There are a lot of them, but it's all basically covered staples, things that you would have already in your spice. So I have half of an onion. I think your recipe says half of a sweet onion, so we've got that. Your recipe calls for 2 garlics, but this thing is huge, so I'm gonna only use 1. And we have a pound of lean ground meat. In this case, I'm kind of cheating. I'm not using the most lean thing I can find. I have ground pork. I love ground pork. I love pork in any way. So this is a chance to do this for us today. We then have, this is our list of spices. We have ground cumin, 1.5 teaspoons. We have a teaspoon, I'm not going to pick these up, I know I'm going to drop something. Oh, it's a point. So a teaspoon of chili powder, 1 teaspoon of smoked paprika, so that's smoked, not regular, but smoked. And we have a teaspoon of onion powder. Yes, we have both fresh onion and powdered onion. Believe it or not, they're very, very different flavors, and flavors that we need these 2 types of onion flavor. Can't go wrong with that. Same thing if you have fresh garlic and ground garlic or powdered garlic, dry garlic. They're very different flavors. They both add something very special to a dish. Of course, we have salt and pepper, and we have my favorite, just 1/8 teaspoon. I read that incorrectly this morning. So I have 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. So ours are going to be a little bit hot. We have 1/3 cup of beef stock. I could have used chicken stock since I'm using pork. If you're using chicken and you have chicken stock, go ahead and use the chicken stock instead of mixing a beef in a chicken. It's just the flavors will be better for that. And of course, cheese. We're making them sort of on the slide here. I'm just finding the right word, but I'm not going to add a huge amount of stuff to them. We got a really big day today. So we're going to make simple, quick tacos on our end, but I want you guys to go crazy. Add whatever you want for toppings. Sour cream, homemade pico would be absolutely delicious. A little bit of tomato, a little bit of onion, some jalapeno, a little squeeze of lime, absolutely delicious. That'll be a great topping. Cilantro, you name it. Whatever you like on a taco is what you're going to put on your taco. I happen to like salsa on mine, so I got that. So let's go ahead. Does everybody have the ingredients that they need? Please let us know, and we can pause for a second if you need to.
One question is, are the spices just for the meat?
The spices are just for the meat. So this is this kind of, we call it in my house, chop in the pot. So it all goes in, all the spices, everything except the cheese and whatever your toppings are. Everything else is going to go into a skillet. Before we even get started with that, let me show you, I have, probably this is maybe a 12-inch, just tall-sided little skillet. That's what I'm going to cook in. I'm a messy cook, so I want that high edge there so I don't get everything everywhere. Also, what I'd like you to do is let's get your vessel, whatever you're using to fry your corn tortillas, let's get that on the heat. We have a little ways to go, but what I'd like you to do is get that heating up very slowly, and I will show you right quick when it's time how to make sure that your oil is at the right temperature. I do suggest that you use kind of a deep skillet. It'd be a whole lot easier to get these in and out of a skillet than it would be a pot. So, this is heating up. This is going to be for our filling. This side is for our tacos, or for our tortillas. So let's move ahead and prep our ingredients. So we have 1/2 an onion, and notice that I've cut through the stem to the root. Then I cut that end off so I have flat, okay? This is my garlic. And the reason I want you to do that process first is because if you've ever struggled with peeling an onion, it can be pretty horrible. So if you cut this thing in half and then in half again, or however, then that skin's going to come right off. And I'm just going to put that over to the side. Now, if you were there for our skills class, we talked about, that you can use this horizontal cut, then turn and then slice. I like to bypass, I always like to bypass that horizontal cut because it's dangerous. Especially today, we don't need to be dangerous for anything. But what I want you to do, so we can notice that, it's visible in, I think, all onions, but you'll see these natural striations that go from the root to the stem. We want to follow these lines with cuts. Always leave that root attached and choke up on your knife. Today I brought like the biggest knife I have from home, not sure why. Plunge and just bring it towards you. Okay? Plunge, bring it towards you. If you're worried about crying from the onion, just follow these steps and you'll be perfectly fine. We want to plunge in and then just bring it down. If you're just chopping, you're going to burst those cell walls. And inside those cell walls are all of those nasty sulfur things that make you cry. You don't want to do that. So, plunge and just pull down. If your parents are there with you, they probably remember the old school paper cutters, like a lever. So that's really all we're doing. Notice that I have followed, this one's getting a little too hot. I have followed the shape of the onion. I just didn't go straight up and down. I gave myself that shape. And now you turn your onion 90 degrees. And I'll move this over so it's not in your way. And thumb goes in the back. The rest of the fingers grab hold. The nails are the nails are underneath that first knuckle, right? So your knife is doing nothing but running across your knuckle. The side of the knife where you can't get hurt, okay? Again, and I'm gonna do it just for demonstration. You don't want to go like that. That's the sound you should never hear when someone is using a chef's knife, okay? Chef's knife is meant to slice. You go forward before you go down, okay? And you notice that I'm getting really close to the root. So I'm gonna do maybe 2 more, and I'm done with that, right? That just goes to the side. I can scrape these over, and let's do the onion. This is gonna be really loud when I get it in that pot because it's screaming hot. So, garlic, just cut off the little nib. If you're using, I think we talked about this last time, if you're using a normal piece of garlic, then you'll probably will need 2 to 3, depending on the size, and depending on how much garlic you like. But this one is absolutely huge. So I'm gonna cut it in half so that I have 2 equal pieces. And then we're going to mince this. Think about exactly what we did with the onion. I want you to slice down, leaving just a very small edge. This knife is bigger than I usually use. Okay, put it back together. Turn it just like we did that onion. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna get those out of the way. And again, just slice through while using a forward and then down motion. Not down, then forward, but always think forward and then down, okay? So let's do that again with the other half. Notice that this is not a minuscule little mince. It's just a small. We just want them to not be too crazy when we're cooking them, we don't want a mouthful of garlic. Okay, so I did a really good job with that one. So you see, it's not even gonna come apart, mostly because garlics are sticky. Okay? And then down and forward. Well, forward and down, forward and down, forward and down. Okay? Didn't talk about the finger position because it always just is the way we do it. But, you know, even when it's something small, thumb goes behind, you just get it out of the way, because if it's over here, especially if you're using a huge knife like this, it's going to get cut. So it always just runs on that first knuckle, okay? Now, let's get something in this pan so that it will cool down. Okay? Let's transfer. You'll hear that skillet was nice and hot. I'm not going to add my garlic just yet. I want the pan to sort of lose some of that heat energy. It's going to just, of course, transfer into the onions. And when these get a little bit soft, then I'm going to add in my garlic. I'm going to wash my hands for the 1500th time today while that's going on. They are clean, but they're sticky, and I don't like sticky hands. So I'm not going to go for a full 20 because, like I said, I'm not trying to sanitize anything. I'm just trying to get the sticky off. Oh. Everybody keep washing, right? Now, I can see that the heat's sort of gone out of my pan, so I am going to turn it up, but you can see it's not on very high at all. This is not about frying. This is just a saute to soften these onions. And we're going to let that keep going. I don't need to take it all the way because, like I said, everything's going to go in this pot, so everything is going to continue to get cooked. But the onions are the ones that need the longest time. So does anybody have any questions? We are happy to answer. No.
Seems like we're answering them right now on our chat.
So I'm trying to think more often about, how do we keep those questions before you even have to think you have a question. I'm trying to cover them for you. So this is nice and soft. I am going to add my garlic right in. I'm going to just rinse off my knife, and I can actually, the heavy lifting, cutting, is done. One thing I do want to do, season-wise, is I want to go ahead and add my salt and pepper. I don't want to bring your onions together. This is not a, depending on the pan you're using, these onions will scatter pretty far and wide. But I want to add salt and pepper to my onions and garlic. Okay? So that part is done. Get that stirred together. Those onions are going to absorb the salt. The salt goes in, it starts to pull in all the other moisture that's in the pan, and it bursts those cell walls. And so if you're ever trying to caramelize onions, which are a treat unto themselves, then you must add a little salt to get that water out so that the sugars in the onion can naturally start to caramelize. Another glass.
Please speak a little louder. It's here.
Okay. Okay. Did you say I need louder?
A little.
Just a little bit.
Okay. I have my drink over here because I think it's grass pollen today. It's always some pollen in Houston. These are where they need to be. Remember, they're going to continue to cook this entire time that we're cooking whatever ground meat you have. I have ground pork. It's going to go in. It's going to get chopped up with the side of my spatula. If you're using a spoon, a wooden spoon, I hope you're not using a metal spoon. If you're using a wooden spoon, just be a little careful because it's not going to really chop for you. It's going to sort of smash, but keep everything moving. I'm one of those people that I get this far in the recipe, and I'm like, okay, all I need is rice, and I have a meal. So, I did that the other night. So, mixing. While this is cooking. I don't want to add my seasoning after. I want it to become part of that meat and it's sucked up all by that. Think about the flavor that we're creating. It could be a homemade taco seasoning. I think it is. So we're going to start with a ground cumin. Okay. Then we are going to add chili powder, smoked paprika. Everybody still following along now? This goes really quick. This is a great lunchtime dish. Powdered onion is going to get clumpy. Now remember, well, I'm just going to do a poll. Hey, everybody in the room, do you like really spicy tacos? I'm going to use that crazy twice as much cayenne pepper as I needed. I like it that way. Okay. So I'm going to get this stirred up. It's going to start looking just like a taco filling. Don't want to add my beef broth in this case, or chicken broth, depends on whatever you're using. You know, if you do buy that mix in a packet, it just tells you to add water, which is perfectly fine. Now I'm going to add this to it, so 1/3 of a cup of the broth of your choice. I think the recipe calls for beef, but that's if you're using beef. Then you should definitely use the beef broth. That moisture is also going to help your ground meat to fall apart, become separate. Okay. This just needs to cook. Ground meat always, always, always needs to be cooked to 165 degrees. You can eat a steak raw if you want to, but ground meat, it's ground, so anything that might be on top of that meat is getting ground into it, so it's not safe to eat ground meat, rare or medium rare, so make sure that you're cooking it really well. Now I'm noticing something that I don't mind it, but it's really liquidy, and what I think I would like, and if somebody would run and get me just a little, like a silver tin ball of flour. I just want to tighten this up just a little bit, just so that it, doesn't run all over the place. I like it kind of sticky, thick, all staying inside. And we're just going, like I said, we're just going to be tightening that up, is what we say. We're just going to be tightening that up with just probably a tablespoon of flour. Thank you so much, Chef. Okay. Sprinkle it over the top. Sprinkle it, don't just pour it in one spot if you want to do this technique, because then you'll have tacos and dumplings. We don't want tacos and dumplings. That sounds absolutely horrible, actually. Okay, how is everybody's feeling? Everybody great?
We're answering those questions on chat right now.
Oh, yes. So, you can see already, now I didn't want this to be like a pudding or anything gross like that. I just wanted it to be a little bit thicker so that it clings to that meat, so that we know we have flavor. Every once in a while I get a little bit of moisture of some sort hits this hot oil for our frying, and you can hear it pop. So, gotta always be careful. Okay, I'm going to run over and get a spoon. And that, so this is something we always say in class. Please taste before you put it on your plate. Because that's, as a chef, you're the chef today. So you want to know this is going to taste great. And it does. It's really, really delicious. So, I'm turning it off. And I am going to go ahead and just set this aside. Let it cool. And I've got plenty of space. So I need to know if my oil is ready. So I have a little technique. If you don't have a thermometer, you more than likely have a wooden spoon. This doesn't really work with brand new wooden spoons. Because what we're going to do is we're going to fry the liquid or the moisture that's trapped inside that wood. So put it down, and I'm not sure if you can see it, but it's bubbling. That is frying our handle. So we know for a fact that this is, at least it's hot enough to boil water, right? It's hot enough to replace that water with the oil. So I know that's going to be fine. Do not, if you have a chance, some way to check your oil, don't be over 350, 325, because we want our tortillas, corn, to have a chance to puff and to actually get soft and get puffy and all that kind of good stuff before they burn. You don't want them to burn. So, make sure that you have your tortillas. Make sure you have a pair of tongs. Make sure you have pretty close to your pan of oil somewhere to put those cooked tortillas, okay? I also happen to have a serving plate. And I want to put this here so I remember. Okay, are you guys ready? So now if you're really young, please get your mom, get your dad, get an older sibling to help you, because this can be very dangerous. Frying is just innately dangerous. So grab your tortilla, and bottom goes in first, and lay it away from you. Okay? I like to hold it down just a little bit, and it's going to puff up nice and puffy. So we're not going to really go for color. We're just letting it get puffy. Turn it over. So you see, this is not taking long at all. So look at that, chef. Puff, puff, puff. Okay. Again, tortilla goes in. The bottom goes in first towards you. Gently lay it away from you. Okay. And immediately you can see it starts to get puffy. I'm going to turn this one over because it had oil on it. But you see those puffs? Getting puffy.
What's the oil temperature, chef?
I have no idea. That's what we were talking about with the wooden spoon. I know that it's hot enough to fry, and you can tell just by looking that it is not hot enough to burn. I can be all chefy though, I can tell you. So we always have a thermometer rolling around here somewhere. So I'm stopping just a little above 350. So I know just by looking at that, and I don't have a huge number left, so I can turn it down because all that heat is still in that pot. Okay? What I like to do is stick these, turn them over and see if you can bend them. Just naturally give them a little bend so that when you go to make that taco, that you're not making a tostada, which would be absolutely delicious. Do what you like. So on this one may have dried up a little bit too much. I'm going to put it back in the oil. That's going to soften it up before it hardens it up. Turn it over again. Hopefully that worked. Drain. Listen to that. It's not going, this one's going to be our tostada. It went just a little too long. Recipe calls for 8. There's only 3 of us here today, so I'm only going to make 6. Drop it in. Lay it in is really the better term. I don't want you to think that you're dropping anything ever in hot oil. You're always laying it in as gently as possible, okay? It's just too dangerous to not be sure of what you're doing. You see how quick that goes. It's very, very, very fast. Drain it. Let the oil drain off. Give it a fold. Look at that one. It doesn't want to fold on the puff. Look at that. Give it a little direction, right? There. And so as long as it already has that crease in it, you know you're going to be fine. One more time. Well, 3 more times. Shell goes in, tortilla goes in. Lay it very gently away from yourself, okay? Let it go. Get all that puff. If you are doing this with homemade corn tortillas, you're going to get a really big puff. It's the way they're made. These are absolutely delicious. These are just soft corn tortillas from the store. But they have a tendency to get crunchier than they do puffy. But really delicious, delicious flavor. Again, let it drain on some towel. Find a place where it's going to bend. It can be a little difficult. Depends on your tortilla. And bend it. And just let that sit. Notice that I still have my tray nice and close to where I'm working. That way I'm not pulling out, corn tortillas that are 350 degrees, dripping oil all over the place. You don't want to do that. Okay. One more. Bottom in, go down. Do push them very gently with your tongs. And then you go. I've yet to count. I think we're at no more than 5 seconds per side. Of course, these are already cooked, so we're not cooking. We're not taking into account the time it takes to cook the corn masa. We are just getting them puffy and hot. Delicious. So yeah, I think, guys, that's no more than 10 seconds, right? It doesn't take much time at all. I think the part that takes the longest is me trying to find a place where it will actually want to turn into a taco. There we go. I know it's not perfect. It's going to be delicious though, and that's what counts. Over. Oh guys, these are going to be so much better than those pre-bought fried corn tortillas or taco shells. And this is going to taste of corn. This is going to have delicious. It's not going to shatter. It's going to be crunchy, but it's not going to be shatteringly crisp. It's going to be so good. This technique, if you happen to have lots and lots of corn tortillas left over, cut them into 1-inch strips and then do exactly what we're doing now. Fry them, and then until they get puffy, put them out on paper towel lined tray, and then hit them with some salt, pepper, any flavor you want, a little dash of, a little squeeze of lime, and you have homemade tortilla chips. And there's nothing better than a bunch of homemade tortilla chips. So you have to eat them quickly because there's nothing bad in them. And gonna turn this one over. And guess what, guys? We have done it. So now this is this is our tostada, remember? So nice, it's crispy, but you see that it doesn't shatter apart. Okay. Over again, just to make sure that we've got that texture. Look at that one, that looks so good. They all look really good. And this one, I can see where I bent it originally. And once it sits for, gosh, we did that in less than 2 minutes, I think, guys. It doesn't take long at all. But now they're perfectly cool enough to handle. They're not cold. You see that they're not, like I said, they don't shatter, which is not fun. Now, comes the fun part. The real fun part. Let's make a platter of deliciousness. So, get your filling stirred back in. Remember, this is the point where we're going to everybody's going to go their own direction. We've got the filling. Our filling's made of pork. It probably is not, but ours is made of pork. We have a little salsa. We have some cheese to melt. You can see the steam coming off, so that's going to be enough. I'll give you my little trick of what I like to do, but I want a clean spoon. What I like to do first, and this comes from eating those crunchy, crazy shells growing up, I like to put a little cheese in the bottom, okay? Just a little bit to start off. And then you're filling on top of the cheese. And that cheese is going to melt, and it's going to help hold that taco together, okay? Yeah. And of course, more cheese. And then get a little bit of salsa. Again, this is where you start putting whatever you want on it. Lettuce, tomato, jalapenos, onions. Gosh. Start making tacos. Okay? Let's go ahead, let's make the tostada. A little bit of cheese just so that everything sticks. A little bit of filling. Don't go too crazy. We don't want it to go everywhere. A little bit more cheese. A little bit of salsa or pico de gallo. Lettuce, sour cream, everything. Ooh, like that. Huge if you want it to. And more cheese. I'm gonna make all 6 of these so that when we are finished filming, we're all just gonna sit down and eat tacos. It smells so good. Is everybody smelling as good as this one, I hope?
People are enjoying the class. Yes, they are.
Thank you, guys. Oh, that's right there. Let's see. That one's not gonna want to close right up, but you know what? That's because this is the big end. Let's just turn it over. All right. There's always an answer to everything. A little bit more cheese. If you want to, if you are making this and everyone's gonna make their own taco, what I usually do is I put the cheese in with my filling meat. And that way it's all just slops in there like a sloppy joe. That's good, guys. A little bit more cheese. Sour cream, everything. That's everything you want on there. It's yours. Do exactly what you want with it. Again, that taco's gonna want to lay that direction, so I'm just gonna let it. And let's try one without cheese on the bottom and see. We'll see how that works for us. Let's mix it up. Let's put our salsa first, and then our cheese. Do whatever you want. But you see, it's already, I can feel it. Just trim it off my finger. That's, If I was at home, yes, I would have licked that finger. But here, I'm gonna wipe it off. And last but not least, let's do this one the same way. Filling. Be liberal with your filling. It doesn't hurt. If it falls all over your plate, pick it up and eat it.
So Travis wants to know, what do you like to serve with tacos?
Ooh, you mean as a side or serve on my tacos?
Give them both.
Ooh, so one of my absolute favorite things to eat with tacos is charro beans. That's just one of my favorite ways, but I like beans. People like them. Some people don't. Charro beans are so flavorful and so delicious. But when it comes to things on my taco, I like absolutely everything on my taco except raw onion. I think to me, raw onion just takes away from the flavor of all of this deliciousness that we've created. But even radishes, sliced really thin, a radish is absolutely delicious on a taco, especially on a pork taco. Sour cream, guacamole, avocado. I like avocado as guacamole. Okay? Look at this. If I had something green, I would have thrown all over this plate. And you've seen how absolutely gorgeous all those colors come together. So I wish I could see what you're seeing. I'm sure it's absolutely beautiful, guys. So what I'd like you to do is take pictures, okay? Not just pictures of your plate of tacos. Like, I want a picture,
Whoops.
That's gonna be Hugo's.
That's mine.
That's Hugo's.
I'm claiming that one mine.
So, let's put this one back where it belongs. There. You know what's gonna happen. So, just clean up your mess. I know Chef Lawrence likes to always remind us to work clean, right? So clean up those messes as soon as they happen. But back to what I was saying. I wanna see this kind of picture. Okay? Plates of tacos, those are great, but I wanna see that you had a lot of fun doing them. An empty plate of tacos and some greasy faces, that would make me really happy, remind me why I do what I do, okay? So, We are, you know, guys, I forgot what Thursday is. I think we have a class on Thursday. I'm absolutely sorry. I forgot what that class was going to be. Everything's gone out of my head now that I dropped a taco. So it just happens. But join us on Thursday for another class, one of our free virtual classes for kids at noon. We will start at noon, or we'll be on at 11:55, but we start a little after 12.
Tip jar.
And don't forget our tip jar. So that meme, I call it a meme, but our little graphic is running through the website. We have Venmo, PayPal, Zelle, all these things that I've never even heard of, Cash App. So we really do appreciate that. That helps us pay for our ingredients so that we can bring you this sort of activity for free for us, besides the knowledge that we can give to you, instead of having to spend a lot of money on just ingredients. Okay? So that's how the business side works. Again, guys, thank you so much. I want to see those pictures. I want to get some reviews on your food today, okay? So send them in, email them, or you can email them to info@mccooking.com, or you can put them, better yet, put them on your Facebook, but tag Main Course Cooking School. And that way everybody can see what you've done, especially people in the class today. Okay? Thank you so much. We will see you in a couple of days. Bye. Happy Cinco de Mayo.